Our first primary culture meet of the term. I hope everyone's had a brilliant start to September and the new academic year. This is obviously our moment to come together, and we do these culture meets every term for primaries and secondaries, and this is the opportunity to put some faces to the names. Ideally, you'll meet new people today, you'll make new connections, you'll go away feeling inspired and able to kind of follow up on some of the things that you hear. We're going to cover quite a broad range of art forms and organisations. You'll hear from lots of different people, and again, you'll be able to listen to it again. So I know some of you will be frantically taking notes, but you'll be able to see it again on the Challenge website. Make use of the chat function if you like to ask a question or just comment on any of the things that are being talked about. I will try and keep an eye on it, and if we all just keep an eye on the chat function so we don't miss anything. And I'd really like it to be a lively discussion, so please do chip in and ask questions, discussing things, share the issues that you're facing at the moment or the things that are on your mind, and then we'll really go forward feeling like we're ready for another year of fabulous arts and creativity with the kids in your schools. So I'm Kathy Mahmood. I manage Challenge Nottingham, which is our local cultural education partnership, and we have I'm missing Maria, who used to come to these meetings, has now left. She's gone to the New Art Exchange as their full-time marketing manager. So thankfully she knew there'd be a bit of a gap, and she scheduled some posts, so I feel like she's kind of been communicating to me from afar. And hopefully you've got your reminders about today and things, and we will soon be recruiting for a new marketing manager and a new schools partnerships coordinator. So next week we're holding interviews at Challenge to expand the team, and we're really excited, and you'll hear news of some new teammates, and we'll have a bit more capacity to actually come and visit you or give some one-to-one support. And really, you know, if you've signed up to the Cultural Rucksack and you've signed up to that commitment to embed more creativity in your schools, we really want to be helping you make those connections. So the new schools partnerships manager will be able to help you with that. So without further ado, you're going to get to hear from all of the arts organisations that are here in the room, but if the teachers could just introduce themselves so I get a sense of where you are in Nottingham, where your school is based, that would be brilliant. So could I just come to the teachers first to just introduce yourselves, if that's okay? So Sarah, and hi.
Hiya. I'm at Our Ladies in Bulwell, north of the city, and I've got Ellen Flynn, our deputy, here today because she wants to know how I found out about things happening. So join the meeting, we'll find out. So yeah,
brilliant. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to thank you.
Can I come to Louise?
Hi, I'm from Bulwell also. I work at Crabtree. I've been coming to these meetings for a while, actually. They're great. Yes, hello, I'm the person. Very tired, actually. I don't know why this afternoon, but I am here.
Oh, thank you, Louise, for being here. It's good to see you. Alison.
Yeah, hi, I'm at Rufford in Bulwell, and I've been to the last couple of meetings, just find useful. I like to know what's going on.
Brilliant. Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm from South Glade, which is in Bestwood, and I've been coming to these meetings from the beginning. Here I am.
we can just see your forehead, Emma. I don't know if I can see you. Do you want? Oh, there you are. Hi.
Yes, there I am.
Good to see you.
Right.
Is Jane there? Jane Harding. It's Jane Harding.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I'm joining from Not City Council. I'm here just to find out about things that are happening so that I can pass that on to people through training networks that we'll be delivering this year.
Brilliant. Thank you. It's really good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Jane Thomas.
Hi, I'm Jane Thomas and I'm at Old Baseford School. I'm been to a few of these meetings, and I'm a creativity collaborative school, which I can see quite a few other people are as well. Thank you.
Great. Fabulous. So I think, are there any other teachers in the room? No, I don't think so. So we're going to come straight over and do some introductions, if that's okay. So if I can come to, where am I? Liz, would you like to go first to introduce yourself and what you do?
Yep. I assume, is there another Liz or did you mean me?
Yes, I meant you, Liz.
I will quickly introduce two different hats. So I, with wearing one hat, I am the Art Smart consultant for Nottingham City and South Nottinghamshire. So I support schools who are embarking on partway through or finishing their Art Smart. If there's time, maybe I'll say a little bit more about what we've got on offer this term, Kathy, but I don't want to kind of take up time now. So yes, I'll put my email address in the chat, so contact me if any schools are interested in Art Smart. Swapping hat over, I also run a music production company called Mishmash Productions. It's based in Beeston, just outside the city. Do quite a lot of work with the Music Hub and city schools. Just starting a musician in residence project at Genogly Strelly Primary. And that's a project that we're hoping to roll out in the future, kind of researching the impact of live music in the classroom, not from a music education perspective, but from a supporting school and student wider needs perspective. So that's a research project. Always interested to hear from schools who might be interested in that. We've also got a performance at NTU of one of our shows on the 21st of October, if anyone's interested in that. And we're working with the University of Nottingham on a digital programme that we're hoping to pilot with some schools this term as well. That's me.
Thanks, Liz. That's great. Can I come over to Steve from National Justice Museum?
Hi, I'm Steve from the National Justice Museum. Slight spoiler there. So we are in the middle of Nottingham. We are a former Georgian and Victorian courthouse. People have died in our museum. It's such a good fun day out for Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. Basically, we are really a one-stop shop if you want to learn about the justice system, social justice, cyberbullying, hate crimes, and history. So we have trials that include the suffragettes, all based on real trials, and they have courtroom roles for all children. So you can come in and one of them will be the judge, one of them will be the barrister and the prosecution, etc. And they are tiered. So we do Key Stage 1 trials for Humpty Dumpty. Was he pushed or was it criminal negligence and did he fall? We don't know. And they are all fully scripted so that children actually get the role and they get everything they need to say. And we've got flashcards, and it's really inclusive of children with lower reading ability ages. And then we have ones where they have to come up with the actual weaknesses in the argument when we do Key Stage 2. So they're more sophisticated. And we do things like cyberbullying based on real, genuine, modern, contemporary trials. They decide on the verdict, and then at the end, we tell them to see how far off they are. If they do the suffragette trial, they get to sit for the verdict on the real dock that Emmeline Pankhurst sat on from Bar Street Magistrates, which is amazing. And they also get to actually hold some of the museum artifacts and objects, which, spoiler, did torture people, but you know, that's fine. Lol, it's great. They do love the gory history, and they get to meet history in action when you meet the characters. We've got a Key Stage 1 event all day tomorrow. If you want to pop in at any point for a slice of cake to find a bit more out, that's on until 5 o'clock from 8 in the morning. Totally free, just pop in. But we also offer with the Ben Kinsella Trust anti-knife crime awareness, which is fully funded places for children you think are at risk of becoming involved in knife crime. Or a lot of primary schools bring a whole class as almost like a mini police group. And what they learn about is the risks of knife crime, not only literal like physical damage, but also things like joint enterprise, where they can be sent to prison for being with someone who has a knife. And the videos and things within that exhibit are incredibly imposing and a little bit upsetting, but it's all themed around prevention of getting involved in criminal activities. It's an absolutely fantastic service, and the places are fully funded in conjunction with Nottinghamshire Police, and you can even get £100 for your travel cost to actually come to it. So I think without saying too much about that, I think it's probably saved people's lives, that actual exhibit. And it's not in the museum, it's in the old police station. So you come for just a half day. It's not the same vibe. It's quite serious. It's remarkable. I definitely recommend just coming in to pop a view at it. And other than that, we really do a lot of growing outreach, where we're going to go and offer assembly services to primary schools about cyberbullying and the potential for criminalisation of you when you get past the age of 10 and how the law system works. Thank you. Sorry, Kathy, I think you're still on mute.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Dee. Amazing. There's so much, isn't there, that you've managed to pack into that 5 minutes. It was incredible.
I'm so sorry I talked that much. Apologies.
No, it's great. I think it's amazing. Has anyone not been yet to the National Justice Museum that's thinking of going? That you know, have you been having anyone able to go tomorrow, possibly to drop in? It'd be really good if you could.
I did cold call email 380 primary schools across Nottingham.
Oh, wow.
So check your office email box, because there will be me just being like, please come and have some cake.
Yeah, go and eat cake. Sounds great. Thank you, Steve. Oh, Louise, did you put your hand up then? No. Sorry. Right. I'm going to come across to, we've just been joined, I think, by Charlotte from the Contemporary. Charlotte, are you here? No? Or she's come and gone again. Maybe not. She might rejoin us, I think. Okay, so Nettie, could I come to you to tell us about the things that you're organising in November and Dragon Breath?
Hi everybody, nice to see you. Is this the moment to present the work? Because I wanted to have share some slides if necessary, if I can.
I think you can, yeah.
Okay, I will introduce myself, Nettie Scriven from Dragon Breath Theatre. I know a lot of you will know me as working for the Mighty Creatives as the Nottingham Arts Mark consultant, which now Liz is doing. But I'm here to do with Dragon Breath, although I want to say a little something about a TMC network that is happening soon. Okay, so Kathy, how do I slide share?
I think you just have to go to share. Next to the leave box, there's a little box called share. And if you have your document open on your desktop, you can then go to the desktop option and click on it, and it should share.
I can't find that. Where is that? Because I don't use Microsoft Teams very much. So sorry, Peter, I'm not quite sure. Come on, if you come in and have a look. So where do I need to go to?
So if you click on share, have you got there?
Share tray. Oh, share tray. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, and then it either says share screen or share window, and you go to window.
Got it there.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, so Dragon Breath Theatre, it's a theatre company. Some of you will know us because we've been into schools. Based in Nottingham, we create innovative, immersive drama experiences for young people in theatres, museums and schools, engaging students with exciting and challenging ideas about the world. And what I would like to share with you today is our current Key Stage 2 education programme at Pupplewick Pumping Station, which is called A Temple to Water. This will be for the summer and autumn terms 2023. The programme begins with a day-long immersive visit to Pupplewick by up to 60 young people. In the morning, they meet characters from the pumping station's Victorian community, stimulated by a letter sent to the school from a family suffering from cholera in Nottingham City. So this does connect up very much with the Justice Museums, because I know you've got a lovely exhibition down there about the Broadmarsh. In the afternoon, these are some of the activities they do. In the afternoon, they return to the present and are introduced by film to a water activist from Bolivia who asks them to consider water management globally and the impact of climate change upon the world. Over the last 10 years, we have worked with Pupplewick Pumping Station Museum, seeded through a 2-year action research programme looking at a water curriculum with the Education Department at Nottingham University and primary and secondary schools. A Temple to Water was born in 2018, working with a focus group of Key Stage 2 teachers from Nottingham and through various pilot projects in the county with young people as performance researchers. These R&D phases with our partners and the young people are always at the heart of our process. A Temple to Water is an interdisciplinary programme based around the question, is water essential to life? It focuses on the significance of Papawick Pumping Station to public health in Victorian England and on Victorian industrial history and engineering. Papawick Pumping Station brought fresh, clean water to the slums of Nottingham at the end of the 19th century. The visit is complemented by extensive education resources for staff to use across the term or half-termly, primarily connected with science, history, geography, English and drama, PHSE and citizenship. The specific curriculum areas we focus upon are history, a local site of significance, geography, the distribution of natural resources, water and the water cycle, science, materials and their properties and forces, and English, drama and empathy, poetry and different forms of writing, speaking and listening, and articulacy and PHSE. As part of the programme, staff attend a teacher's introductory site meeting to acquaint themselves with the site and its different locations. This is the underground reservoir they visit in the afternoon. And it's really important staff sees all the different locations. And also to learn about the curriculum resources, giving them plenty of preparation time for the visit and the learning. Our programme for this term will finish soon, and as the visits need to take place in the summer and autumn terms of 2023 due to the outdoor nature of part of the site. Many of our partner schools who work with us come back annually and build it into their curriculum. So this September, Mellors Primary School in Radford have attended over the last 2 weeks, bringing the whole of Key Stage 2. Together, we have discovered new ideas, new ways of engagement, and opened up discussion about citizenship and looking at our local history and the wider world. And now I need to end. Okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah, hopefully any questions do ask me, but hopefully that gave you an overview of the programme. Martin, you narrowly missed it. You were going to come with Mellors, but the funeral happened.
Yeah, I was upstaged by a funeral. I'm sorry about that.
It's fine. So that's Dragon Breath Theatre and the work at Papawick Pumping Station. Can I just say one little thing to do with TMs, the Mighty Creatives, which is, I can make sure I give you all the details in the chat, is that on November the 8th, you should have all had this really, November the 8th, there is another cultural marketplace and celebration of Arts Mark at Nottingham Contemporary for staff and partners. And hopefully most people have received that invite, and partners should have had an expression of interest sent to them, which because you'll be presenting if you want to. And the deadline is Monday. So if people I'll put the details in this chat. So if you're interested in presenting, if you're a partner, if you're interested in attending as a teacher, the info should be there.
Thank you.
Or get back to me. Most of you've got my email address.
Please do put it in the chat as well, Nettie. That would be great.
I will.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we're going to move on to Hannah from the music service. Hannah, are you there?
I am, yes. Sorry, just appearing on screen as if from nowhere and putting on the microphone. Yeah, with not a lot to say really, other than what people know already. We are really enjoying getting back into the swing of things in schools over this week and next. It's a little bit of drowning, not waving, I think, at the moment, but we're getting there. It's lovely to be back in the schools with the children. And last week was fantastic on our annual music camp extravaganza in the Peak District. So we hit Island Hall hard and had a really great time with well over 200 kids. So the direct upshot of that is that lots of them are starting area band this week. So that's something else that's resuming, and so many events to look forward to this year. Largely, we have a larger programme this year because of the 21st anniversary of the music service. So we're adding in some extra things. So you'll see the old favourites like Christmas in the City and the Great Orchestra Experiment and Sing City and all of those things. But there will be an additional programme of events which we will be letting people know about as we go through the year. We've also got a range of new ensembles that your pupils can get involved in if they are kind of in that between stage between area band and our orchestras. So if they're sort of coming up for grade 1, maybe just about to take that, or they've just taken that and they're looking for something to do which is with others playing in a proper band or ensemble, then we've got a really wide range of additional ensembles starting this year. And that also includes vocal ensembles. So we have our Robin Hood Young Voices, we have Voice Connect. We also have ensembles for children who'd like to be in bands. So rather than being maybe in an orchestral environment, if they want to thrash the metal or whatever it may be, they're very welcome to come along and join our Band Connect, which has been extremely popular so far. So it would be lovely to invite your children along to that. All of the information on all of these things is on our website as always, so nottinghammusichub.org.uk. Just come along and find out what's available, or alternatively drop me a line, give me a ring. Always happy to hear from you. I think that's probably it for me for now.
Thanks, Hannah, that's great. Now I'd like to introduce somebody new to this meeting. I'm really pleased that you're able to join us today, Julie. You may know some of the faces already in the room, but it's fabulous that you're able to be here and tell us about the William Booth Birthplace Museum.
Thank you so much for inviting me and letting me join your group for today. And yeah, I just found out about the group literally 2 days ago, so I'm very new to anything. So I'm just learning about what it is, and I can share a little bit about myself and what I do. I'm a curator by trainings, and I'm the only employee working at the William Booth Birthplace Museum, which is located near Green's Windmill in Snunton. And I'm part-time, so I wear pretty much every hat, but that includes education, both adult education and education for children and young people. So I kind of do. It's a very wide remit, but we do have schools coming to we've been closed for 2 years, so just getting back into the swing of things. Closed during the pandemic, and then we had some significant building work done, but that's completed now, and the building looks amazing. So it's a three terraced house. So there's three houses, but it's one into one. From the Georgian times, so we kind of tick the Georgian box because the building itself is from that time, and we have 4 rooms in the building, in the house, that look like they would have done when William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, was born in the house in 1829. So that is definitely a highlight of any school visit, is coming and seeing this house and stepping back in time. And so we've got that, but William Booth and his wife, Catherine, their lives focused more in the Victorian times. So a lot of the social work, the social action work that the Salvation Army became involved with was done during that time. So we can touch on a lot of different curriculum areas. I think mainly we attract primary schools, but we've done colleges. That we take that inspirational figure from history, which is William Booth and Catherine Booth. Although William Booth is now in the RE curriculum, the local Nottinghamshire RE curriculum, so that's great for us. Yeah, so I'm usually there Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and we don't charge for visits, just because a lot of the schools near us are quite deprived, and I think it would be a little bit of a barrier. So that's something we haven't ever done before. I think it's important that when the children come that things are hands-on as much as they can be. So I've been developing handling items, and we've got quite a collection of uniforms for the children to explore and try on, including all manner of coats and hats, lots of different types of hats, which are a favorite. And there's flags with Salvation Army. There's a lot of sort of military-esque items that are fun, like flags, and we've got tambourines, and so it's nice for the children to be able to explore with those. Yeah, and then I had worked with a student a few years ago on developing a game, and it's still not quite. I've tried it in sort of development stages. It's a game that it's supposed to promote cooperative play and figuring things out cooperatively. And it focuses on the Salvation Army's sort of social work. So that we've done in some of the school visits, but I think it still needs a bit of tweaking. So anyway, that's me, and that's the museum. So again, I'll put my details in the chat. So if anybody wants to get in touch about arranging a visit, usually visits last, I would say, about 2 hours. They're sort of like half-day visits, and yeah, so that's me. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. That's great. Really good to hear from you, and I hope maybe a few people that hadn't heard where you were and how to get in touch will be able to now. So please do add your contact details to the chat so that people can email you directly. I'd like to come over to Shanine now from Diversify Education. Shanine, are you here?
I am. Yes, I am.
Hi. Would you like to just take a few minutes to let teachers know how they can work with you, get in touch with you, what you have to offer?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shanine, and I am from Diversify Education and Communities, CIC. Our work is primarily around raising the awareness and promoting the importance of implementing cultural diversity and inclusion within the classroom and education. I believe we're doing some projects next month with a few schools in the area who are looking at implementing a bit of cultural diversity activities in their classroom and school community, well, in this whole school community, particularly around African and Caribbean culture, which is what we primarily focus on, but we also look at other cultures as well. We do quite a lot of different activities to engage with a lot of different communities as well. We have resources, especially with Black History Month coming up. If you want to access them, they're free of charge. We've got the steel pans from Trinidad and Tobago, along with the musical notes, the instruments that the children can play as well. We've also got books, a variety of books with themes and subjects from, again, African and Caribbean community, and written by various authors as well. So if anyone is interested, you can always, I'll put my email in the chat box, and you can always get in touch with us. And we're also happy to come into schools and support wherever we can. And we also have a newsletter, which tells you a lot about what we do. And it's sent out monthly. And we think this is really important that we share what we do, especially that we're being funded. So we want people to know exactly what we're doing with the money and how we're spending it on different projects as well. We're always open to collaborations as well. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, I hope I've been able to say enough there. You can get in touch with myself if that's okay.
Brilliant. Thanks, Janine. Please do jot your contact details in the chat too. And I think Hannah from the Music Club is really interested in your steel pans, so I'm sure there's a connection there too. Brilliant. Could I come over to Charlotte from the Contemporary? Charlotte, are you there?
Yeah. Okay,
Yay,
hello.
hi.
Hi. Hi everyone. I'm Charlotte Tupper. I'm an artist and I work at Nottingham Contemporary, and I'm here on behalf of our new schools programmer, which I was, and I'm now handed over to the lovely Sandra Osterfield, who is also a teacher, and she was working at Rise Park, and she's now at Sneinton C of E school, so she's part-time there and part-time with us, which is really exciting. And I'll put her email address in the chat. We have a new exhibition coming up. I'm going to try, can I try and share my screen, Kathy, just to show?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not very good with Teams on screen sharing, so can you, oh, hang on, is it the share tray? No.
So yeah, there's a share button and then share the window that you've got open.
So you can see, you want to see this one. Can you see this, Hollow Earth?
Yeah.
The website, yeah. So yeah, this is the, a page on our website that's just got some really nice images. Our new exhibition is all about caves. It's called Hollow Earth, and it explores kind of our humans' relationship to caves. There's loads of paintings and drawings, installations and sculptures in this show, and we're really excited about it, especially kind of working with schools and knowing kind of caves and Stone Age, they're topics that children learn about. So we do hope that this show will be really popular with lots of schools to come and visit. There's Magritte paintings in there. There's Andy Warhol, not Andy Warhol, sorry, Henry Moore drawings, which I know as well are often on the curriculum. So that's open until January. So it's open for the whole of over winter. And we have self-led visits, which are completely free. So you just need to email Sandra to kind of book those in. And there's a free space for lunch. We have resources you can use for free, activities you can do in the galleries, and we send all that information to you before you visit. And then we also have artist workshops, and that'll be someone like me planning with you, with the teachers, in a visit that is relevant and links with our exhibitions, but also can be taken back into the classroom. And again, that's really bespoke and really tailored as an offer as well. And that involves exploring the galleries together and making something inspired by what we've seen. And because the show opens on Saturday, next Thursday we have a teacher CPD, where you can look at this exhibition, meet staff, talk about how a visit might work. There's always refreshments, a chance to meet other colleagues, and we try to make those sessions quite practical as well. So we'll be like doing an activity in the gallery for teachers to do, and then really keen to have those conversations about how we can support schools in wanting to visit. So that's everything from me at the moment. Is my screen stopped being shared?
Yeah. No, if you that's it. If you click that, that's it.
I'll be back.
Brilliant.
Right.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll pop Sandra's email address in the chat, and yeah, hope to see.
And the booking link for your for the CPD next week.
Yes,
well, if you've got that, you can put that in the chat.
Brilliant.
That's great.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry, Kathy. If I may just be permitted, I forgot to mention one thing. Yeah. That's okay. We are doing a networking lunch project for Black History Month. I know it might be a bit difficult for some of the teachers on the platform. It's over the lunch period, where we're going to have a variety of cuisines from African and Caribbean culture and doing presentation on African and Caribbean heritage. It's more like a shared learning exercise. If anyone's interested in coming along, we're doing it on the 14th of October and also on the 21st of October, and it's a free event. We would have forms. The reason being is that for allergy requirements, dietary requirements as well, we're doing the forms. Other than that, it's a free event.
Perfect. Yes, thanks, Janine. I think the only person there are two people that I think haven't spoken yet, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but it'd be really nice to hear from you if you're able to say a few words. I think there's somebody called Dee that's joined us, who is a Read on Nottingham literacy champion, who are just amazing people. They're all over Nottingham and they're fantastic. And if you don't know anything about Read on Nottingham, please do get in touch. Dee, are you there? Are you happy to say hello?
Hello. Hi everybody. I'm very new to all of this. I just being nosy really to see what's going on and find out about the types of facilities and events and opportunities for the children in Nottingham. So yeah, so lovely to meet you. Yeah, I just wanted to say hi. I am literacy champion for Read on Nottingham, and I do a few bits and bobs, but I also have produced some phonics videos for them. I'm going to be doing some more phonics videos, but this is it's just part of being part of the work that the Read on Nottingham offer. So but yeah, nice to meet you all.
Yeah, thanks for coming along, Dee. And if there are any links or website signposts that you want to put in the chat, please do. You're very welcome to. And Jo Stockdale, please introduce yourself, say hi.
Hi everyone. Some of you, I know there's a couple of familiar faces, and I have done quite a lot of online training over the last couple of years with TMC, and a few other local organisations. So I may have crossed, my face may be familiar there as well. So I do have, my organisation is well within reach, but it's just me. I don't have, this is my headquarters, a spare room. And I'm not a creative organisation, but my background is in creative practice. So I work with a lot of creative organisations, but what I am most passionate about is emotional well-being and mental health, and the role that has in learning, and the role that creativity plays in supporting that. And I think we are, so primarily, well, I do a lot of training, but I also do resource development. That's something that I've focused more on since the pandemic, because even though, Zoom has been a godsend, and, we've all learned that so much more that we didn't think was possible online actually is, equally, it's kind of gave me the opportunity to start developing physical things to put in teachers' hands and things like that to make what I do and what I talk about and what I share more accessible. I have got a report that I was commissioned to write for TMC that you can download for free from their website, and that really, it looks at the science. There's a bit of neuroscience in there, but hopefully make it very understandable, because what I've haven't got time to explain how I've ended up doing this now, but I talk a lot about brain development and healthy brain development, and the impact of stress and trauma and isolation and all of those kind of things, and what happens to not just children's brains, to all of our brains kind of, and how so it really starts to make sense of, even though I think the world of emotional well-being and learning are coming closer together, I think it's through the lens of understanding what's going on in children's heads that we can start to really appreciate the interactivity between them, and the kind of creativity and culture and things like that feeds in so beautifully, because it changes brain chemistry a lot. That really promotes learning capacity and promotes emotional well-being. So I'll put a link to that that paper in the chat box, and my email address as well, and my website. What I would say about my website is I'm changing over from one platform to another, because I'm building an e-learning platform into my website. So there's big gaps at the moment in my website where it hasn't, it's like I said, it's changing over. So apologies for the state of my website, but there is some information in there if you wanted to look. But what I would do in the first instance, if you want to know more about what I do, or just join my mailing list, things like that, is drop me an email for now. So I'm just going to put that, there you go, I've put that in the chat box. So yeah, that's really about the size of what I do. I do lots of work with with schools, but also settings where there are more vulnerable young people. So with virtual schools and foster carers and those kinds of services.
Thanks,
so yeah, right from early years right through to 25 plus. So.
Amazing. I think that's all of the arts professionals here in the room. Oh, Tia, hi.
Hello. Hi. Sorry, can I just hop on? I'm from Nottingham Playhouse. I'm very new to all of this. I literally started last week in the organisation. And I'm just here to shout about our school's massive performances. That's our big Shakespeare performances that happen on the main stage here in the Playhouse. It takes place in summer, and applications to be part of that will open in November. But you can register your interest now, and I'll pop an email in the chat should you wish to register your interest beforehand. The fee for taking part is £750, but as part of that, you get 3 an hour and a half facilitated sessions with one of our expert freelance practitioners, teachers, CPD session for up to 3 of your staff, obviously a full performance on the main stage at the Playhouse, and support in choosing your Shakespeare scene and editing it for your young people, and it's suitable for years 4, 5 and 6, and I'll pop the dates as well in the chat. But thank you very much everybody for your time.
Oh, thanks, Tia, and welcome to Challenge. It's really good to meet you. Right, I think I need to just pass over to Martin. Really, Martin, you haven't said hello yet, really, because it's your turn.
Hello, yes, right. Welcome, everybody. So I'll move on to the sort of cultural rucksack bit. And this is the best bit because we get some feedback from schools, which is always the thing that I enjoy the most. And I'm really happy to introduce Jordan, who's hiding down there in my bottom right-hand corner. Jordan White from Cantrell School. He's going to talk to us just for a few minutes about the way they've approached arts and culture in the school, but also the relationships they develop with City Arts in particular. And I know in the past they've run some really successful carnival days as well. So I'm not going to spoil, no spoilers here, I hope, to Jordan. But if I can pass over to you to tell us your tale, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Thank you for that intro, Martin. That's wicked. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I'm going to have a go at sharing my screen. I've got to say, I don't miss this, to be fair. I like the face-to-face a little bit better. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, that's great.
Wicked. Okay, good stuff. I've put some slides together really because it just shows a few photos essentially of what we've been up to with City Arts over the past 6 years. And you know, it's one of those. It's been just like a really great relationship that we've managed to develop between ourselves at the school, me particularly working very closely with Alison at City Arts, who would have liked to be here today, but she's not able to make it. Bit of background about myself really quickly. I've got backgrounds working as a chef in the past. I've worked in a sales office for a few years. I don't know what it is about these really high pressure, stressful jobs that keep me coming back to them. But I'm now a year 2 teacher. And so if I'm not making a lot of sense this afternoon, that's possibly because I've been in this classroom all day. I'm one of these people who likes to, have a project brewing. I'm always kind of like up to something. And during my training at Skit, I worked at Heathfield, and they did whole school days on the South Africa World Cup, which were really inspiring. And I wanted to do something like that at this school. So coming to the school as an NQT, year after that, I became geography coordinator and had some really good feedback on working on whole school Rwanda days and green eco days and things like that. So I approached my head teacher and asked if we could do a school carnival. Like I say, not really my idea, more of something that I pinched from a school that I trained at. So I wanted it to be very inclusive. I wanted it to be a celebration. I wanted it to be a summer event. And I just wanted it to be a day where the children could, do something different and the community could be involved, and for it to be something that all of the children are involved in. In the past at the school, they've done days on Saturday, like, school fairs and things like that. But I was very keen on making it something that every child would actually get to come to without there being reliant on being bought by their parents, essentially. So with that kind of like signed off as something I was allowed to do, I attended one of the, well, I've got the date, I managed to find the date of this. It was May 2016, we came to the Contemporary. And by this point, I mean, one of the reasons that I'd wanted to start being the arts coordinator and not the geography coordinator anymore, I kind of asked if I could swap, was just I really liked the people I met at the events, and I loved going to the organisations, and the fact that you got a few nice cheeky glasses of wine and a nice canapé back then, 2016, certainly didn't harm it much either. It was pretty good. So I met Alison Denham there. She did a bit on what City Arts do, and if you haven't looked at the work that they've got, I think they've been working for about 40 years in Nottingham. Their work with disadvantaged groups and marginalised groups is just exceptional. They're based in Hockley, and you know the people that they work with, they're quite a small charity, but what they do pound for pound is just brilliant, and they've just been such good partners for us at this school. So basically I've put together a few slides, which hopefully if I click this one, does it change? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, but this is very much a quick run through. There is a case study that we've developed together, which is published by City Arts, which I've just dropped into the chat there. So I would recommend, if you get a chance, to have a look at that, because it does go into a bit more detail, really. So obviously you can see here the years run from 2016 through to 2019. We all know what happened in 2020. There were some collaborative works that we did in 2021 and this year in 2022, but for the for the purposes of today, we'll just look at the 4 really successful school carnivals that we've done. So if we look back to 2016, we put a group together called the Cantrell Creatives. I think it's really important that you don't try and take anything like this on as like a solo practitioner, because it's an enormous amount of work to get a whole 500 strong school marching around. Even just the field in the parade is a really a logistical big deal. But we managed to turn something around remarkably, really, in just a couple of months, where we had probably a dozen plus cultural organisations who are basically just rang round and begged, borrowed and stealed, and people were really good to give their time in kind and stuff to come in and do activities in the afternoon, of which you can see these children were working with some practitioners from the Nottingham Contemporary. That was almost like on a round robin. So we had, there were some football skills going up on the field with some of the dads who were football trainers. There were the Contemporary, there was storytelling. And what we also said is the key premise of a good carnival is you have to have, something to wear, something to put on your head, and something to wave around. And for the first year, which we had to go really, the theme was the different community groups that were currently represented in the school at that point. And yeah, it was good. It was really well received, but because of the fact that we'd put it together in a couple of months, it wasn't particularly well planned. There were things that, looking back on it, were a bit dodgy. Things like not particularly having, risk assessments that would be as well put together as I would want them to be today, and making sure that we, plan for how many parents were going to show up and things such as that. But, that said, it was great. And the feedback we got from the parents was they really enjoyed coming in and seeing the children, making the noise. I think there's something to be said for getting dressed up, making a din, having a good stomp around. I think it's quite primal. And I think it's something that we kind of have lost slightly in society, that we may have done a lot more of back in the day. If we think back to people when they would have celebrated May Day or celebrated the festivals, certainly this just felt right, really, for our school. So that was the first year. Definitely things that we learned from that were that we could really make this a centerpiece of our arts mark. We could show that this was having an impact on staff through the CPD that they were getting, and we knew that we would like to work with City Arts again. So we did. We debriefed. and we put our heads together, and this time we themed it around, in 2007, environmental issues. And can you see those clouds in the top corner there? We're so lucky we've not been caught by rain yet, but one thing I would say, if you ever are going to do a carnival theme day of such, I would plan in a wet weather contingency, much like you would do with sports day. Really, they bruised the sky, but they absolutely didn't drown us out. So we had a fab day that day. Again, this time, to make it slightly different, we had the children line up along the back of the school in their groups. We had a theme of the rainforest and deforestation, along with water pollution in the seas. You can probably see that, to start with, it was quite light touch with City Arts in the first year. They came and supported in quite a light touch way, but by this point you might be able to see there that some of our staff are in costume. They supported with some of their big puppets, like there was this big skeleton who came around shaking hands with the children, slightly freaking them out. And we also had a community group who came and did a dance for us at the beginning. So it was really well attended, this one. But still, we had some ideas of ways that we could make it better. So we went away, had a conversation with City Arts afterwards. Would you like to work with us again? They did. And we started planning. I suppose the main thing that we've learned from this, and I hope I've got it right this time, because we are planning on doing a carnival for 2023, is it just comes around so quickly. You think you've got the time, and then because you're in the classroom as a full-time teacher and everybody's really busy at school, you know, just those weeks ticking by, it's really important that within that first half term, you've had these quite big conversations about budgets and big conversations about what extent they're going to be able to engage and support, because without those happening straight away, it becomes well, it can become quite stressy, to be honest. So 2017 happened. Moving on to 2018, I've got to say this was the carnival I think I've liked the most through all the years that we've done it. And this year we decided to run this in line with Nottingham's City of Literature status. I think we had UNESCO status for a bit.
Yeah.
So the idea was that all the children would choose their favourite book that they'd studied that year, and they were able to. So I think you can see some children there have been reading How to Train Your Dragon, Giraffes Can't Dance, some pirates there, probably to do with underpants or some kind of thing, Hand as Surprise. But just in the top corner there, you can see that one of the other things that happened as kind of a result of us maintaining this relationship with City Arts and leaving ourselves open to do other projects with them. The late great artist Jess Kemp worked with our school and a couple of other schools there to produce that beautiful phoenix, which actually is articulated as well. It does like flap its wings and what. And we were able to be involved in the Nottingham Puppet Festival that year, which was a great honour for us, and it was a really good day out on a weekend as well. So yeah, slowly, steadily building the relationship up, slightly bigger budget each year, slightly more going on, slightly more people involved. And I've got to say that year was roasting hot as well, so it was a really, really good day. I should say that after these events as well, we would tag on to the end of the day the school fair, which at that time the PTA was really up and running nicely and was able to almost like this was like a self-funding kind of day, because you'd make all the money back in the evening with the parents coming in and buying their hot dogs and, you know, doing the fairground games and so on and so forth. So the summer fair. 2019 comes around. We've got a different theme this year. This is to do with launching our new arts curriculum. And for this year, this was big for us, because not only did we have like a big sound truck come onto the field where we did our parade, or a procession, I should say, but also this year we really closely aligned ourselves with the Bulwell Arts Festival for the first time, as I think being like a real showpiece event for the Bulwell Arts Festival, which happens each July. This year we did a separate day up on our school field for our school community, but also we went along to, I think it was a Sunday, and there was a parade, a carnival parade through the Bulwell marketplace. I suppose what I'm getting at really is I don't really want to see it stopping at just being a Cantrell thing. I would like to turn this into a Bulwell Schools carnival. I'd like there to be you know, lots of schools in our local area, and unfortunately we've been building a little network really of schools that are very like-minded and want to work together, and we're in the planning stages for that at the moment. So you could say these guys have been studying Frida Kahlo. You can see here our wonderful Mrs. Wright here stood with the massive.
Oh, Jordan, I think you've suddenly gone on mute. Can you just unmute yourself?
We've got Mass on mute, I think.
Can you unmute?
Am I on mute? Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, you're fine now. Yeah. We just heard you say the wonderful Miss Wright, and then you disappeared.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Probably it. Yeah.
Let me see. Are you still seeing the pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Right. Good. Yeah. So this one we actually had them. So we were very keen on having like pupil voice in this as well. We're very keen on having like leadership through the school. We do a lot of arts award at the school as well, and we had a arts ambassador group who worked with city arts practitioners, and they actually came up with the design for that big costume that the member of staff's wearing there on the centre of the image, centre of the screen, and which was called the Weather Wizard. So if you have a look into the city arts document that we've written with them, it kind of goes into more of what the process was like there. We also this year worked with Lewis Hunter, who leads a carnival troupe called Inspire Yourself Carnival Troupe, I believe. And he was just absolutely electric, like a really, a really fun character who got the kids up and moving. So we also this year introduced a dance ambassadors group who were able to come and support us on the day in the Board Town Centre. So essentially, really, what I'm saying is it's really worth putting the time and effort into doing something like this. We certainly see a difference in the children and the years where we're doing one of these carnivals. They look forward to it. They spend time, you know, creating things for it with their class, and you know, anything that can enrich the experience of these children is good as far as I'm concerned. Makes me happy as a teacher as well to be involved with it. And if you get the chance to work with City Arts, I would recommend it because they're brilliant.
Jordan, that's great. I've been assaulted by colour with all those slides. They just seem incredibly colourful. It's amazing, and that seems to say it all for me. And you know, we've got Louise and Alison from Crabtree and Bulwell. So perhaps they can think about joining and linking up while they're here as well, and what you might do for Bulwell. And just the community elements of this, both in terms of the school community and beyond, and the links you've made, just shows what can be done. But I know also it's flipping hard work, and you're having to do it in and amongst everything else. But the results, you know, speak for themselves there. And do download that report, by the way, folks. It's well worth a read. It really is. If you fancy doing something similar, you've got a good template to get on with. Any questions from anybody? Who's up for that then? Not quite sure.
I mean, one thing to mention is, Jordan, you also with your Arts Award hat on, Arts Mark hat on, you have a group of schools going for their Arts Mark journey, don't you? And work together to support. You're kind of the group lead for that, and that's also an opportunity for other schools. So to kind of think of working in that way, in collaborative ways across your local areas. So I wonder if you'd just like to mention anything about that process.
Yeah, sure. Well, we've since I've become the arts lead in 2016, we've had one successful round of ArtSmart where we've got ArtSmart Gold. The collaboration that we've done with different organisations was a strength there. But we certainly got things that we want to improve on. So one of the things that I wanted to keep going was building that collaboration in the local area. We were given the opportunity to set up an arts network, which was successful. And I think most of the schools should be approaching in about 6 months' time their statement of impact, really, to be able to show how doing the ArtSmart has made a change and how they've measured that. For us, we've been able to, oh, thanks for the comments there, guys. That's
Yeah.
sweet. It's been really good that we've been able to actually start going a bit wider with our collaborative work. So we've worked with, you know, national organisations as well as just local. So we've, you know, worked with the Old Vic Theatre down in London, and we're now an RSC associate school as well. Because one of the things that we've identified is that drama was particularly kind of lacking in our curriculum, and that teachers, well, we've all been through an awful lot during the last few years. It's going to de-skill you, you know, having to switch to learning from your living room and teaching in the classroom 1 minute, and, you know, not being able to go anywhere near a kid the next minute, and just, it's been crackers. So we're certainly looking to, you know, continue to work with local schools, continue to work with local organisations, and just really carry on strengthening that. So yeah, keep an eye on what the creativity collaborative schools are. I know that there are a couple here. Are doing as well, because that's really exciting work that's happening in the city. And yeah, I think I've probably answered that question, Kathy. I suppose the next thing would be to say, if you get the chance to do something, just say yes. just say yes, and then work out how it's going to happen afterwards, because, you know, you'll regret it if you don't. And also, just a plug really, Kathy, at this point, I think, for One Vision Partnership, which is a local social justice charity set up in our area. They run the Bulwell Arts Festival, so if people have got input they want to give towards how the Arts Festival could be, you know, improved, or any ideas that people have got, we have regular meetings.
Yeah,
brilliant.
I think Steve, that's great, John. Steve's got a question, I believe.
Yeah, sort of an offer really, although I feel like now you're going to say yes, because you just said if you get offered something, say yes. But we do a lot about protests in the museum. So in the lead up to your carnival, given how quite a few global carnivals start as a form of protest, if you want, like, we could always pop out and do a little assembly or something, or have a little stand there. So just get in touch. We're keen to support that, and maybe in exchange over coffee, give me a bit of advice over Artsmark. So we kind of want to adopt, or of sorts, a group of children in primary and give them the Discover Level Award, and then basically every year go back and give them the higher award and invest in, say, 20 children over like 5 or 6 years and sort of help them. So I'd love to sort of pick your brain about that.
Yeah, it's definitely here to be picked. I've just dropped my email into the chat there.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's brilliant. I mean, just again, it's nice to see you, Jordan, and getting here, because then you've got an awful lot that you can give to this group anyway. And seeing the work that you've done, I think should inspire many of us, or many of you, to go out and try and replicate or do something similar in our own schools. And it's those things to the community, I think, are really important. And yeah, thanks, Steve, for reaching out as well. That's brilliant. Any other questions before we move on? Nope. We can always use the chat anyway, folks, as you know. Kathy, do you want to do a quick RSC updates?
Yeah, thank you. So RSC this year was all around celebrating difference. Everyone can sparkle, and lots of you came along to a practical kind of CPD session that Rachel Scanlon delivered. It was via Teams, and she sent out packs of creative materials before the session, and you all joined in via sort of your computers and things, and had a go. And then it was just amazing on the day, the 30th of June. It's always the last Thursday in June, RSE Day, which is Relationships and Sex Education Day. And I just wanted really to just plug that we'll be supporting again. Challenge has always supported. The last 3 years since I've been around, we've helped with the live stream and the resources, commissioned some artists to develop things. So really, we're looking next year at 2023 and wanting to do another Nottingham project for RSE Day, potentially with some different resource that we can put behind it, because we're not going to be doing the live stream, but we do want to do something that's a collaborative project that we all sing and shout about. So really, it's just a plug to start thinking of the thing. I'm sure Catherine Kirk, who organises the day, will be in touch about this, but just to have it in mind that Challenge is really keen to get involved and support, and it's brilliant when you all share your creativity that day, and it's fabulous to be involved. So really open to ideas of how we make it bigger and better next year.
Great. And have you got any updates around creativity collaboratives at all? I know Jordan referred to what's going on there.
It's mainly, I think half of there are 12 schools involved in the creativity collaboratives sort of community of practice, and it's actually something that challenges role within that, and this network is really to make sure that we're sharing the learning from it with the wider schools networks. There have been a number of residencies that have taken place and others that are happening this autumn term, so I'm very keen to be hearing about what's gone on to make sure that the case studies and the sort of inspiring ideas that have been shared and tried out are kind of come to this meeting, and you get to hear some of the things that people are doing and increase your pool of creative practitioners that you might work with. One of the key things about creativity collaboratives is that we're not referring to artists, we're referring to creative practitioners who may be engineers or designers or scientists as well as artists, and thinking about how we nurture children's curiosity, their innate curiosity and creativity through teaching for creativity. So absolutely, we have a website. Actually, can I share the screen?
Yeah.
The challenge website, let me see if I can find it, has a page, so please do look at this challenge website because we're always updating it, and there's a section for teachers at the top with various information up there about the things that are going on. We try and make sure that all the CPD events and things that are around get put up on there as well, but there are various resources that you can link through to around the world, really, different international practices and advocacy and championing of creativity that takes place, and there's also a list of creative practitioners that you can find out a bit more about and send us more. So this morning it was fabulous this morning, when we first started this meeting, because Sarah had somebody called Adam Pepper who'd been working with their school today, and he came along and talked about his work, and sometimes those people get missed from the challenge network because they're not an organisation or a venue, but it's really important for us to know who those freelancers are as well and make sure that we're giving them opportunities to connect with you. So yes, we're building that creative practitioners database, like resource on the challenge website, and absolutely having case studies as the project grows. I think about 6 of the 12 schools signed up to be here in this meeting today, so we've got another meeting next Tuesday, so we'll see you guys next Tuesday afternoon. But yeah, really, it's a really fantastic, exciting project, and we can all be involved in one way or another.
Yeah, great. I mean, I think that sharing from that project is really important. I know it underpins the whole project anyway, but opportunities like this where we can, draw in those people who aren't engaged but can learn so much from what's happening within it would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks for that. I'm going to just share my screen, give you a few little updates. What have I got there? Yeah, let's do that. And if I go to full screen there we go. Okay, where we've got to with Cultural Rucksack and the way we're approaching that. Just move on again. There we are. That's what we're about. We've used that slide often enough just to sort of summarise what we're trying to do. And listening to some of the things we've had today shows much of that is going on. I mean, just the way that John's approached his delivery of arts and culture in Cantrell, begins to highlight what high quality interaction between City Arts in this case and the school, just what they can do. So we've got a lot of good practice in the city anyway, and much of this is about sharing it, which is what this meeting's about. So that's happening. Kathy, if it's the last thing we do, isn't it? We're going to do this blooming handbook. Yeah. So going way back to when we started this project, we were having this discussion with teachers and saying, look, we don't know what's on, we don't know what's out there, we don't know what people do. And we put a handbook together which would help folks on that initial journey. So it could be something, a coffee table book for the staff room, or whatever, that folks can go in and just see what's on offer out there in Nottingham. We have lots of interaction, thankfully, with our providers in meetings like this, which is arts professionals, which is brilliant. But, you know, there'll be new staff in schools who perhaps don't know the city particularly well, aren't sure where everything is. Well, this book will come to your rescue. And that's really important. And then linked to that is the other thing that people have been continually asking us about is what's the core offer? What do all these organisations do? I mean, Steve, for example, outlined a lot of the things that are going on, for example, at the National Justice Museum. And schools just need to be aware of that so you can plan ahead. Yes, of course, you will all have those individual initiatives and programs which will be short term, but what can we do in planning on a sort of month by month, year by year basis? So this begins to highlight some of that, which, you know, I'm really pleased. I think we've got most of the background information now ready to pull it together. We just need to press the final push button, which I know we will do as soon as we can. As part of that book, I'm trying to marry up, if you like, what the offer is, which is the right-hand column, that core offer, who delivers it, which is in red, and then what curriculum areas that might satisfy. So I'm going to do a little bit more work on this, but it's that developing for each of the main curriculum areas. I've just put an example page up here, who can deliver it, what they can do. So you can begin to marry up the activity provision that providers have got out there for you with what you might be doing at school. And we began years ago talking about, when we first started, about an entitlement, which I always shied away from, but I have had a go at doing something on. So this is just, if you like, if schools were delivering the curriculum as it's laid out, all of these things should be delivered. But could we develop it into some sort of entitlement for young people, a progressive entitlement? We can do a progressive element of this as well. But that's at one stage. What would have been lovely to do is see how it can be adapted and developed. I'll try to do it with a Nottingham focus in particular, but what can be done from a school focus? And we might, or some of you might be interested. I'm happy to, if anyone's interested in developing something like this, I won't say it's the 50 arts and cultural things you must do before you leave school, but hey, it might be something like that that helps drive, you know, our pledge and our, you know, delivery of a broad and balanced arts provision as well. I mean, again, as Jordan pointed out earlier, that one of the things they had one year was covered dance, which was perhaps not picked up so well in the school as it could have been. And the Carnival was used there to help deliver some probably quite very useful CPD for stuff on it. So there could be some work. If anyone's interested in working with me on developing some concepts around this, happy to do it and see where we go. Oh, there's our map. So people not only want to know what was on offer, but where it is. So we've done that. That will be within the handbook itself as well. And you will be familiar with this. Now, what I would say, during the session today, we've had a number of our arts professionals sort of highlight events that are happening. Not all of those were on here. So it'd be great to get as much information on here as we can about CPD offers in particular. And CPD, I want to just ask a few questions about in a minute, because that's one of the things I want to pick up on for this year. What other CPD can we provide or instigate through working with our partners that would be of a real use for school? What would the needs be? So I had a quick look at this and just pulled together, there we are. Those are the CPD opportunities that are currently on that particular map. There have been others mentioned today which sounded really exciting, which would have been great to be on here. And what I'd love to develop within and I know where we're doing it, there's someone on the website, we could just have a place that people can go to and see the CPD offer that's on there, because there is a lot happening out there anyway. But also having identified that, I mean, diversify education's on there, and they've got something else with those lunchtime things. We get more on here for yourselves there. And it would be really, and I heard Nettie talking about the event, TMC event, that should be on here. We just wanted, if I can collect it up, or somewhere collecting it up, so that staff can easily find out what's going on in plenty of time, that would be brilliant. And then from something like this, are there any other things that schools that you would like to do? Because I'm just going to pop out now and finish my screen thing where if I can find it. There we go. Stop presenting just for a second. So what needs are there? What I'm going to say now, if you can have schools in particular, have a think about what you really feel, perhaps in your particular school, you would need in terms of CPD around the providers and professionals that sit around the table, that our partners, our arts partners might be to give, or other skill development you might want in schools. Let's have a look at that. And I guess on the other side of it, if our arts professionals out there and providers could say, well, actually, we could do this as a CPD event. I know you do events anyway, but I'd love to just see if we can marry up perhaps some schools' needs with what provision we have out there that could satisfy it. Or is there something else we need to bring in that satisfies it? Now, this might go beyond this meeting, but we have the capacity and the capability from this group, I think, to be able to establish and set up a broader CPD offer across the city. So if you want to put any ideas into the chat, or if you want to talk now about what you think are areas that you think, yeah, we'd love to develop this perhaps in our school, or is there something hidden we don't know about yet that the arts providers could offer out to schools just to improve the quality partnership between the two? Because I know we can get more out of it than we're doing at the moment, because we've got some really good things happening anyway. But I think we could just build on it a bit more. I don't know what people's thoughts are on that. It's always difficult asking in these sorts of meetings, which I'd rather. But just Kathy.
Yeah. I can tell you what I'd like to see happening, and then Kathy, just kind of pull it in there, and then sort of just read the room and see whether you're or not you're interested. For me, arts and well-being and well-being within schools and supporting children's mental health and just positivity and those sorts of areas of work, for me, would be something I would love to make sure there is a programme throughout the year that schools are able to access. So some of the work that Joe has put together before or delivered, there's a couple of years ago we did a whole we did 60 videos, little short videos called Time for Wellbeing, that were all part of a calendar in November. I don't know if you remember, or if any of you used those, but I'm kind of wondering whether it's, whether that was just a moment in time back in 2020 when that really felt necessary, or whether that kind of thing is something that you'd still want. So could I ask you directly to just let me know whether well-being resources linked to the 5 ways to well-being, potentially, connect, take notice, give, be active, those things are something that you'd welcome. Oh, we've got a comment. Thank you, Jane.
Which is great. From Emma as well. Again, from my perspective, something around arts linked to that is arts and personal development. So I've just written a little paper about arts. What was it? Yeah, arts, culture, and personal development. Because again, that's something I think would be quite useful. And also arts and environmental issues, but also equally arts and diversity issues. But those are themes. Are there any skills like that we need to develop as well? And I think anything like that, more information we have, then we can begin to build on programs.
And I think one of the things I'd like to be thinking about is, as we've been asking our arts partners within Challenge to come up with their core offers that are not going to change year in, year out, I think there is something about having a CPD course that that different teachers within your school have done, you know what I mean, so that that teachers at different times will be able to access it over a number of years. Nettie.
Got Joe as well, but yeah, Nettie. All right.
Yes, very quickly, and I don't want to speak for the teachers at all, but Sarah will know because she was one of the teachers I spoke to across the region for TMC for the event in the 8th of November. I did talk to teachers about what they wanted for CPD, like a small section, and actually in terms of skills, theme well-being was key, but in terms of skills, it was a lot about 3D, art and design, architecture, designers. So that was coming through very strongly, the sort of what I call the sculptural element of things. Okay. I know, Sarah, you brought it up, and I'm just saying everybody was picking that up.
Thank you.
Right, that's something it gives us something to work on. Then we can go start having discussions and see what we can put on. Joe, you've got, and then Steve. So Joe, do you want a quick input?
Yeah, I was just really reflecting on what Kathy was saying, and obviously this is kind of my bag, so I have lots to say on this. But I guess one thing that I feel quite strongly about, and I've certainly seen the need increase for, is I think there's quite a lot of work that's going on around wellbeing, but quite a lot of it feels reactive. So it's more, I don't want to say sticking plaster stuff, because that diminishes what's going on unfairly, I think. But what I think there is a need for is to give children more of the skills and the awareness to protect their own well-being and to understand what their well-being is. So rather than just having the CAMHS is an extreme kind of case, but there seems to be quite a lot of mentality around well-being as well. When there's a problem, we'll refer it to CAMHS rather than, well, what are the skills that children need so they stop having problems? And what I would really like to hear less about is we're giving children coping skills, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's have thriving skills, not just survival skills. Really thinking about less about coping and more knowing more having the emotional vocabulary, knowing what self-awareness is, understanding how to manage relationships and things like that. So I just wanted to, maybe it's a conversation for me and Kathy to have later about actually making something a bit more, just a paragraph or two about something that's a bit more concrete. But I think my feeling is that that's something that's more akin to what is well-being, what are the components, and how do you nurture it in young people from a protective perspective would be useful.
Great, thank you for that, Jo. It's interesting. Steve,
mine was just having been a primary school teacher and a secondary school teacher for 10 years before I got my current position at the museum. I always found one of the hardest things was just justifying why these were useful, because primary curriculums are so jam-packed. There's very little time sometimes for anything that's outside of maths, English curriculum, and secondary schools are so regimented for obviously staffing and things. And I think what I try and do now is offer that like curriculum link to everything we do, so that you justify it to the people who sign off on the trips or the visits or the CPD, because there's a lot of people, blessed leaders, who are just like, we haven't got time, we've got to get results, we've got exams and stuff. If we can really prove that not only are the curriculum links like sort of supportive for, say, well-being, but also they are part of their educational right, I think we've got more of a chance of getting a yes. So.
Yeah, and it's about how schools then as well design their curriculum to incorporate that stuff.
And helping them do that.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing that today here in Peterborough. So
you're so good, Martin. You're so good.
So it's interesting to see that, and it's because schools are under huge pressures. There's certainly with Ofsted now bigger focus on curriculum anyway, and what can we do within this particular network to help support not only the skills but making sure that they are definitely linked, into your intent, implementation, impact, how that flows through, and what element this plays, and they've got to be incorporated. Absolutely no doubt. So any support we can do. I mean, if we did a session around, curriculum, and we've done some curriculum ladders. NST have been really good at supporting schools in developing some curriculum ladders, but then building into perhaps opportunities to enrich those ladders.
Before we go, I'd love to just read out some of the comments in the chat for the purpose of the recording and people that won't be able to see that. So Jane from Old Batesford has said, there are a lot of areas of the national curriculum that all primary schools have to cover in geography, science and history. It would be great for us to bring these areas alive and be more engaging. Help from practitioners would be really appreciated. Thank you for that, Jane. I don't know if you want to say any more. You're there, but that would be brilliant. We've also had something from Emma saying, yes, wellbeing is paramount within our school. It's linking with our SHE lead. And we've also found COVID has caused problems with teamwork and getting along, empathy, communication. And you've had an endorsement, Steve, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, the curriculum links are so important.
Right. Just I'll finish because we've got to go in a minute. I mean, the other bit I was going to talk about today was creative careers and industries and what we can do to develop that. But that'll be for next time. Maybe have a little theme next time on creative careers and how we can develop that element of, having engaged them all in these wonderful carnivals. Well, I fancy doing that in a job. What can I do?
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for coming along. We've hit 5 o'clock, so I really appreciate your time after a busy school day. and yeah, I look forward to seeing you again soon. Please get in touch. You know how to contact us all. So yeah, it's just really good to come together in these moments and see each other. So thank you very much for all your support and encouragement all the time. And it's just really heartwarming to see you all working together. So thanks so much. Take care, everyone.
Yeah. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.